Insta360 rang our doorbell and took off, but they left a sweet package with the new Insta360 X5. So we picked it up and thought, hold on a second, is this 360-degree camera actually more practical than just buying a regular action cam? So we grabbed our GoPro Hero 13 and put it to the test right next to Insta360's new cam. Hey, I'm Olive, your host here at Versus.com, and even though Insta360 sponsored this video, our take is still 100% honest, whether Insta360 is okay with it or not. Let's start right away with video quality because we know that's what you're here for. The Insta360 comes with dual cameras with large 1/1.28-inch sensors, while the GoPro packs a single cam with a smaller 1/1.9-inch sensor. For our testing, we're setting the bitrate to high and sharpness to medium in both cameras for fairness. Let's start with the two main reasons why you might choose a 360-degree camera over a traditional action camera. The first big advantage of the Insta360 is the invisible selfie stick. It allows you to film yourself in any situation, and the result? Well, it looks like you have your own personal camera operator or even a drone following you around, when in reality, it's just this little guy. The second major benefit is the shoot now, frame later feature. You can simply hit record and let the camera run without worrying about what's in the frame. Afterwards, during editing, you can decide exactly which angle or shot you want to use. Pretty convenient, right? This way, you'll never miss a moment. Since the Insta360's big novelty are those dual lenses, we'll check out the quality in 360-degree video recording mode first. So let's start with a sample at the highest resolutions these two cams can output, which is 8K on the Insta360 and 5.3K on the GoPro, both at 30 FPS. Just a quick note, technically the Insta360's dual sensors capture close to 11K resolution. The footage is then processed by its ISP through super sampling, resulting in a final 8K output for 360-degree video. As you can see, the Insta360 gathers more detail in the dark areas, while the GoPro has a more contrasty look. Highlights and color management, however, are pretty much the same on both. We have to say though that the overall detail is definitely higher on the GoPro, with its video having more texture. The Insta360 also offers video recording at 5.7K plus, but as you can see, a good amount of detail just leaves the chat. Once again, the GoPro looks the sharpest. Image processing, however, is pretty much the same as in 8K resolution. You do have to keep in mind that the Insta360 still offers you the game-changing benefit of changing your frame to whatever direction you want after you've already shot the footage. Both cameras are also capable of pushing 60 FPS at these last resolutions. This time around, the GoPro does lose a bit of detail in exchange for the faster frame rate, but funnily enough, it's still sharper than the footage from the Insta360. In terms of dynamic range, it is once again the same, with the Insta360 capturing more shadow detail and the GoPro having more contrast. But now let's see if video quality changes when we film in single lens mode on the Insta360. And yeah, nothing really changed on Insta360's side, as it still outputs video with less detail compared to the GoPro. Its dynamic range is also pretty much the same as in dual lens mode. Once we switch to 60 FPS, once again the GoPro loses a bit of sharpness, but just as before, its footage still has more detail compared to the Insta360, which looks rather smoothened out. Now, both of these cams also offer an HDR mode, so you don't miss out on detail in either the super dark or super bright areas. Once the setting is on, you can see the Insta360 gathers more detail in the trees behind me, handling those deep shadows beautifully. And interestingly, both cams also increase the sharpness levels, but this time the GoPro looks a bit too over-sharpened. Both cameras also support log mode. This setting captures a very flat but large video file packed with data, giving you a ton of flexibility to color grade your footage, play with the shadows, highlights, and even sharpness in post-production. However, just as we've mentioned before, the GoPro does offer much more detail by default. And interestingly enough, it also preserves more shadow detail this time around, giving you more to work with when you're editing. And here's a side-by-side example of that exciting invisible selfie stick. As you can see on the Insta360, it disappears, creating a really unique perspective, something that just isn't possible with the GoPro. However, video quality is just one piece of the puzzle, so now let's see which camera stabilizes better. As for stabilization in the standard setting, we have to say the GoPro Hero 13 definitely has a bit more shake. Plus, the footage can look a little choppy when the camera tries to regain the correct framing. The GoPro also offers Auto Boost, which offers an even greater level of stabilization, but even with that turned on, the camera still has some shake to the sides, whereas the Insta360 X5, even if it's not 100% perfect, just stays more stable altogether. But if you want an extreme level of stabilization, both cameras offer a horizon lock feature, and even though there's still a bit of movement on both videos because of the holding position, the GoPro's framing floats a bit more, trying to stay stable. But regardless, both cams do an incredible job of keeping your footage perfectly horizontal. Now, using these cameras in low light conditions, you can immediately see that the Insta360 captures much more shadow detail compared to the GoPro, giving it a big advantage. However, both still have a good amount of noise. The Insta360 can further improve video thanks to pure video mode, which is kind of the equivalent of night mode. And needless to say, it gives the X5 a huge advantage over the GoPro, capturing so much more of the scene even in really dark areas. Plus, it also deals with excessive noise levels. I mean, in the GoPro, I completely disappear at some parts of the video. Now, let's check the audio quality and most importantly, the noise reduction effectiveness. So now let's take a closer look at audio, which is also a very important factor when it comes to choosing which device you want to go for. So starting with the Insta360 over here, this is what the built-in audio sounds like on the device. What do you guys think? How do I sound? I'm in a relatively quiet area, so you should be hearing me pretty well. Moving on to the GoPro. Is it any better than the Insta360? What do we think? We will be talking about it, but before we do that, let's also take a look at how the audio sounds like in windier conditions. We've got a fan over here, so we're gonna test them out in super direct, intense wind. So we're first starting off with setting the Insta360 to stereo mode, and basically this is what it would sound like with direct, intense wind coming at you. And the GoPro is actually set to wind reduction off, and again, this is what it would sound like with that direct wind coming at you. What do you guys think? How am I sounding? Let's turn on that noise reduction now. So now we've set the Insta360 to wind reduction strong. What do you think? How do I sound now? Is it blocking out that wind well enough? Now when we compare it to the GoPro, where wind reduction is now on, what do you guys think? How do I sound? Is it any better than the Insta360, or what do you think? Let's talk about it. So, as you've heard, with no wind reduction mode turned on, we have to say the Insta360 sounds, not so great. The GoPro sounds a bit better, but once we turn on the wind noise reduction in both cameras, the Insta360 absolutely blows us away. The volume of my voice is a bit low, but you can understand everything I'm saying really clearly, even with that heavy wind noise. The GoPro, on the other hand, sounds pretty much the same with wind reduction mode on or not. So if you're out in the elements, the Insta360 is the clear winner for audio. Of course, you can also connect external mics to both of these devices to further improve the audio, and a good option for the Insta360 is the Mic Air. By the way, if you're liking what you're seeing from these two cams, you can, of course, check the links directly in the description below. Oh, and also, we have noticed that a lot of you watch our videos, but you aren't subscribed yet, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. Moving on, let's take a look at some cool video modes you can find in both of these cameras. First up is slow motion, which is a simple way to add a cinematic look to your videos or capture those action-packed moments. For the highest resolution available, the Insta360 can film at 5.7K 60 FPS, while the GoPro can output 5.3K, also at 60 FPS. Once again, we can see that the GoPro definitely offers much more detail. However, both do a good job recording without any stuttering. We also have 4K 120 FPS in both cameras, and once again, the GoPro is just far crisper. It also captures a more true-to-life white balance this time round. The GoPro can even double the FPS speed to 240 FPS, although the resolution gets limited to 1080p. But interestingly enough, the GoPro still looks sharper even at this lower resolution compared to the Insta360. As a bonus, the GoPro also offers 3 burst slow-mo presets, with the slowest being 400 FPS at 720p resolution, but at these speeds, the resolution is rather low, and you're also limited to a maximum 15-second recording. Now, time-lapse is definitely a must-have in these cams. Just stabilize your cam and press record. We have to mention that with the GoPro, you get a fixed frame, whereas with the Insta360, you get a full 360-degree video, even in this mode, giving you the flexibility to add an even more dynamic and cinematic look to your videos in post-production. And either camera ain't scared of no ghost, as you can also film some amazing time lapses at night. Another really cool mode is hyperlapse, which is called time shift in the Insta360. It creates a short, stabilized time lapse of whatever object you're pointing at. One huge advantage of the Insta360 here is that you don't have to worry about walking backwards while keeping your subject in focus because of the benefit of 360-degree video. With the GoPro, you need to always keep the camera pointing at your subject, which can be tricky sometimes. For the Insta360, you can also add motion blur to your footage in the app or desktop studio, which gives you even more dynamic results, like this. Now, one exclusive feature of Insta360 is bullet time, so you can channel your inner Neo or Max Payne. You just have to extend the camera stick, which is sold separately by the way, and spin it around. This way you can get really cool slowed down footage of your best tricks, or just show off your surroundings with you in the middle of the action. A lot of people don't take photos with these cams, but just so you know, the Insta360 can take either 72 megapixel 360-degree photos or 36 megapixel photos with a single lens. The GoPro, on the other hand, is able to capture 27 megapixel shots. But just as with videos, the Insta360 delivers much brighter shots with higher levels of saturation. The GoPro, however, looks rather dark, but in a way also a bit more natural. It all really depends on your personal preference for style. And we've mentioned these cameras apps quite a few times already, so let's see what they've got to offer. As a heads up, you need to activate your cameras with these apps, otherwise you won't be able to film a single second of footage. With both apps, you can import your videos and even edit your footage without the need of a computer. Both apps also offer a wide range of tutorials to guide you if you're a complete beginner when it comes to video editing, which is actually super helpful. That said, Insta360's app is much more complete when it comes to creative features and tutorials. Here you can also manually or automatically reframe your 360-degree videos and use a bunch of preset AI effects to make your footage pop. Now let's get a bit technical and check out some video and photo settings on these cams. Now, when you're using the Insta360 in single lens mode, you have the option of selecting between a range of fields of view, just like on the GoPro. Here on the Insta360, we have Mega View for a super wide shot that reduces vertical distortion. We also have Action View, which is made to give you a more immersive first-person view. Then on the GoPro over here, we have Hyper View, which gives you the tallest field of view for those immersive point of view shots. Next, we have Ultra Wide on this side, which captures a bit more of the sides of the frame. Then we have Super View, which is basically a slightly more restrained field of view than Hyper View. Moving on to D-Warp, which has a tighter framing but offers minimal distortion. And finally, the GoPro has a linear setting with no distortion, which is perfect for scenes with people in the center of the frame. The Insta360 also has linear mode, which is basically the most natural looking field of view. Also in single lens mode on the Insta360, you can only select between 16:9 and 9:16 aspect ratios. On the GoPro, however, you get way more options: 16:9, 9:16, 4:3, and even 8:7. The last one is a pretty great benefit because you can crop your footage in multiple aspect ratios in post without having to worry if you filmed in vertical or horizontal in the first place. However, the Insta360 also offers this in free frame video mode. This applies free flow stabilization, horizon lock, and adds guidelines on the display to guide you more intuitively about what stays in the frame in either vertical or horizontal positions. Here you can choose a wider range of aspect ratios for the guidelines. Then you just have to reframe and export your footage in either the app or the desktop software. Now that we've covered all about video quality and features, let's check out the cameras themselves. So let's get into the boxes and see what is inside. In the Insta360's box, you get the camera itself, a handy carry bag, a USB-C to USB-C cable, some stickers, a few mic cleaning stickers, and of course, a stack of manuals you should probably read. Inside the GoPro box, you get the camera, one battery, a 3-piece mount, a USB-C to USB-C cable, some stickers, and another pile of manuals. Now, size-wise, it is clear the Insta360 X5 is chunkier and it's also heavier, weighing in at 199 grams compared to the 157 grams of the GoPro Hero 13. But for mounting, they're almost identical. Both come with an integrated 1/4-inch thread mount and a magnetic base. However, the GoPro has built-in mounting fingers for a thumb screw, which makes it a little more practical right out of the box. The Insta360 also comes with a single screen, while the GoPro sports one on the back and a small one on the front for live previews. As for lenses, both cams offer easily replaceable lenses, which is great for when you get a scratch or a ding, but GoPro has the edge here with a wider range of first-party lenses, mods, and filters to really nail the specific vision for your content. Alright, but what about the batteries and storage on these cams? Let's take a look. The Insta360 X5 comes with a 2,400 mAh battery, which is quite large compared to the 1,900 mAh pack on the GoPro Hero 13. And for charging times, the Insta360 claims a full charge in only 35 minutes, whereas GoPro claims a charging time of a full 2 hours. As for room for your videos and photos, neither of these cams come with built-in storage, but both do support up to 1 TB micro SD cards. Now, if you're planning on taking any of these cams for a dive, the Insta360 is waterproof at up to 15 meters without a case, but with the invisible dive case, diving limits increase up to 60 meters. The GoPro, on the other hand, can only be submerged at up to 10 meters without a case, but also at up to 60 meters with its protective housing. But what about the price? The Insta360 X5 retails for $549 in the standard bundle, and the GoPro Hero 13 is sold for $429, also in the standard bundle. That makes the GoPro a full $120 cheaper than the Insta360. However, you also miss out on 360-degree video, and honestly, those charging speeds on the GoPro are really archaic. So altogether, as we have seen, the Insta360 X5 has a bigger number of advantages over the GoPro Hero 13. It is by far the most practical option, since you are essentially getting a 2-in-1 product, since you can capture full 360-degree footage and then pull multiple videos from a single shot. But at the same time, it also works in single lens mode, just like a regular action cam, so the possibilities really are endless. On top of this, the low-light video performance and audio recording are miles ahead of the GoPro, and the Insta360 app and desktop studio software for working on your footage are also huge bonuses. However, video quality is just okay, and it does retail for a higher price. The GoPro Hero 13, on the other hand, honestly offers the best video quality here with really crisp footage and precise white balance. Plus, it's altogether cheaper than the Insta360. On the downside, however, the night performance is lackluster, charging speeds are extremely slow, and the UI is a real pain to use. So for $120 more, you get far more flexibility in many scenarios, but you do sacrifice a bit of video quality. So what's your call? Please let us know in the comments. And don't forget to check out these cams in the description below. Before you go on a little shopping spree, be sure to leave a big thumbs up and make sure to subscribe, as we're always testing new devices to help you decide what is best for you. We'll see you in our next video, and until then, take care.